Hello, my name is Hunter Wallace and I am a Southern nationalist. I'm making this little video to give you 5 reasons why you should support secession and Southern nationalism. The first reason is that America is a multicultural, multi-ethnic, multiracial society. When you combine democracy with the lack of a common culture, a lack of a common race, a lack of a common ethnicity, the result is a tribal headcount in every election. The result is the gridlock and the dysfunctional government and the unhappiness that all Americans have come to know over these past few years. If we dissolve the United States into separate ethno-states, we could create homogeneous nations where now diversity creates gridlock. We could have real meaningful elections again, elections that would be about issues instead of about race, religion, ethnicity, culture wars. So that's the most important reason to dissolve this union. The second reason is that secession is the only way the South will ever achieve the sort of conservative society that the South votes for in every election, including this one. In this election, the overwhelming majority of white Southerners voted for a more conservative society. And I want to say in every Southern state, but 3 states, Missouri, Florida, and Texas, in every one of those states, the Republicans either held their own or picked up seats in the Southern state legislatures. Republicans are now completely overwhelmingly dominant in Dixie, and it is all because the whole South wants to create a more conservative society. And of course, as every Southerner found out when Obama won his re-election, it doesn't matter if anywhere from 70 to 90% of white Southerners vote one way, and the rest of the country votes another way, we're going to lose. The only way the South will ever achieve the sort of conservative society that it votes for in every election is to sever the Union with the Northeast and the West Coast and the Upper Midwest. The third reason. The Republican Party has failed to advance conservatism. This has reached the point of absurdity. If you're familiar with Mr. Eric Erickson's blog, Red State, in Mr. Erickson's hometown of Macon, Georgia, it is too dangerous for children to participate in trick-or-treating or Easter egg hunting. That's a stinging commentary on how successful that these people who vote for the Republican Party have been through working through the Republican Party to try to achieve a more conservative society. It should be obvious now that the Republican Party has failed on that front, and it has failed because Americans lack a common culture, a common ethnicity, a common religion, common race like we do here in the South. Most of the people in Kentucky and West Virginia feel the same way that we do in Alabama and Georgia, or parts of Virginia or Texas. We share a common culture. We do not share a common culture with the Northeast. The Northeast is liberal. It has always been liberal. It has always voted for a larger, bigger, more consolidated government. It will always be that way. And as long as the Union exists, the Northeast is going to vote that way, and the West Coast is going to vote that way, and the Upper Midwest is going to vote that way, and they're going to combine with the surging population of immigrants coming into this country and the people who are on welfare to smash us, to submerge us in the sort of dystopia that horrifies us. 4. Dixie is a nation within a nation, and that should be obvious by now. The whole South is monolithically Republican now. I want to say that what is it? In about 11 states of the ex-Confederacy, the Republicans control both chambers of the state legislature and the governorship. And it's really like that from one end of Dixie to the other. The whole South wants a stable, conservative society and votes for that in every single election. And in every election, the Northeast and the upper Midwest and the West Coast comes out to oppose the kind of society that the South seeks to create. The only way that we can, and if we dissolve this union, it'd be obvious that we have within the United States nations voting against nations, and that explains the way elections turn out. Okay, and the fifth reason to dissolve this union is that this is actually an area where we can find some bipartisanship, and we can cross party and cultural lines. If the whole South seceded from the Union, that would leave the Northeastern Yankee population and the Yankees in the upper Midwest and the West Coast free to create the sort of society that they want to create. When all the Southern opposition is gone, they'll have a free hand to completely dominate and control the remainder of the Union without spending billions of dollars to fight these stupid elections every 4 years with the South. The tug of war will be over. The gridlock will be over. The dysfunctional government, the do-nothing failure Congress will be gone. And secession is one area where we can find common ground. And I would recommend Mr. Chuck Thompson's book, Better Off Without Him, because he makes the case, and I agree with him, that the Pacific Northwest, the West Coast, the Upper Midwest, and the Northeast would be much better off without all of us conservative Southerners. And correspondingly, from our perspective, we would be much better off without all you liberals. So what we need to do here is agree to create two nations. And I actually think that there are liberals out there who agree with me, who agree with me that if the South had its own Congress and the Northeast had its own Congress, we could actually have two separate governments that we could actually have some confidence in and create the kind of society that we want to, but we can never get because of this union. So what we need to do, the takeaway from this video, is that Southerners and Northerners and you West Coast people, we need to get together and support secession, and each state needs to sign its secession petition, but we can dissolve this union and get this gridlock over with. Thanks for joining me, and thanks for watching my video.